Crosby, and the bulletin is also live on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. We're live too on DSTV channel 279. In the bulletin this afternoon, ECOWAS delegation expected in Nigeria in a last-ditch attempt at diplomacy. In international news this afternoon, Chinese President Xi Jinping will be in South Africa next week for a major summit as well as an official state visit. Welcome to the broadcast. An ECOWAS Commission delegation is expected in Niger in a final bid to dialogue with the military junta. Chairperson of Political Affairs, Peace and Security Ambassador Abdel Fattah Musa warned after the ECOWAS Chiefs of Defense Staff meeting that if this final mission fails, the bloc will have no option but to intervene militarily.
Like I said, we are not declaring war on Niger. People should be very clear about that. Many people are putting the emphasis on the military option. We have repeated time on end, that all the other options are there. Tomorrow, there is the possibility of an ECOWAS mission going into Niger to continue to pursue the peaceful path, to restoration of constitutional order. So I don't think we must focus on the military aspect. We are ready to resolve it peacefully, but it takes two to tango. We are not going to be the ones knocking on the door when they are slamming the door on us. That is very, very clear, and we are going to make sure we don't accept that. So that option is on the table. The option of sanctions as a tool of pressure is also on the table. And then if all fail, then we have no option but go to the final option, which is the military, intervention. And we hope that it is going to be surgical, it is going to be short-lived, and, to ensure that constitutional order is restored. The planning mission, which started on the 2nd of August, has come to an end today. We've already agreed and fine-tuned what will be required for the intervention, the strategic lift capacity, what the strategic objectives are, equipment needed, commitment of member states, which was very, very, very encouraging. All member states of ECOWAS present here today have all committed elements. They have committed their own equipment. They have committed their own resources to undertake this mission. So I tell you, we are ready to go.
Meanwhile, Dr. Abdel Fattah Musa has disclosed that the military junta in Niger, led by General Abdurrahman Chiani, has agreed to dialogue with the bloc. He spoke on the key point earlier.
In the planning of this mission, all those factors have been taken into account. We know we are talking about the Ghanaian citizens who are there, the other nationals of West Africa. There are about 700,000 Nigerian citizens, refugees in Niger. We are very much aware of that. And we have also taken into account the possibility of reverse refugee flows out of the country and then all that. But let me assure you, in planning, we are not going to war against Niger, right? That is very important to, it's a very big difference. We are not going to war against Niger. We are going to war against the CNSP junta. If they have their population at heart, they should take up our offer of the peaceful means to resolve this crisis. But when it comes to the implementation of the military option, if it happens, it is going to be surgical, it is going to be targeted. And I can assure you that all plans are afoot to, make sure that the collateral impact of any intervention is going to be as minimal as possible.
Well, the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, James Elgalga, says the committee is concerned about whether or not the government can contribute troops to the ECOWAS mission to deal with the situation in Niger. Meanwhile, private legal practitioner Martin Pegbu says the government of Ghana must first seek parliamentary approval before committing troops to the Economic Community of West African States to deal with the coup in Niger. Here are what the views of the panelists who appeared to make their submissions on key points earlier. And that is coming on the back of the military intervention of ECOWAS if all peace and dialogue efforts towards mediation in returning the country back to democracy fails.
You know why it is compelling that the President Akufo-Addo's government must come to Parliament, table the decisions taken at the level of ECOWAS for parliamentary approvals? No. We don't have any appropriation for any war in Niger. And so if Ghana has to commit troops, how do we fund the troops? From which sources? Because we haven't done any appropriation for any war effort in Niger. Do you now understand why it is compelling that they must come before Parliament? You may not find a clear-cut provision in the Constitution which requires that if the president has to declare war, he must come before Parliament for approval. There is no such provision in the Constitution. But the spirit requires that, look, before you commit Ghanaian lives to war, where they could die, you need the people's consent to act in such a manner.
Ghana's position is ECOWAS' position. It's even a non-starter. Ghana is a member of ECOWAS. Ghana has never reneged on its obligation. If ECOWAS is using dialogue and military as a last resort, Ghana will encourage and participate in dialogue at all levels and make sure we are able to restore democracy in Niger. There's been times that ECOWAS had mobilized standby military forces but didn't even use it. So let us not jump the gun.
Ghana as a nation, we are what we call a dualist state. So when we say dualist or dualism, your president goes, he can sign international treaties, but for those treaties to be binding on the country, he has to come and seek the approval of the internal parliament. So once that is not done, no, we are not bound. It says that, yes, when you sign, you are bound to a certain extent, so be diligent to get internal. Yes, so be diligent. Come and convince our representatives. If you are not able to convince them, sorry, it won't be binding. It won't be. So this ECOWAS, Ghana is committed, Ghana, it's not legal. Until Parliament approves it, it's not legal. Our troops will not leave here.
War is an immoral activity of man because you are going to kill. And this intervention is the closest that you can have to war. So therefore, in law, we say that the cost for that war must be just. You cannot have an armed forces, per your constitution, established solely or primarily for the maintenance of your territorial integrity and safeguarding of your sovereignty. And then you want to take those armed forces outside of your country, and you think that it is right and it is appropriate to take those troops without coming to Parliament. Which democracy functions like that?
In this particular situation, I think that you need competent and professional diplomats to lead the charge of diplomacy. A competent and qualified diplomat knows that, look, it is not easy under this particular circumstance. You go and then they shut the door at you. You go, they shut the door at you. A competent diplomats know what to do to surmount this kind of situation. You don't come publicly to say that, well, we are going to continue, but we will not continue in perpetuity. There are certain things you don't even say them. You keep it to yourself. But the moment you begin to talk about some of these things publicly, you infuriate those people you are going to be dialoguing with. And so it makes them overly intransigent.
Now, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has urged military deployment in the Sahel region to combat terrorism and strengthen networks aiming at maintaining peace in the sub-region in Africa. He was speaking at the 2023 graduation ceremony of officers of the Ghana Armed Forces Staff College in Accra.
10 countries, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, the Gambia, Guinea, Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Nigeria and Senegal form the Sahel region. The security situation in the region remains worrying, with non-state armed groups continuing to carry out large-scale attacks against civilian and military targets, among other things, while insecurity in the tri-border area of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger continues to grow. Niger is the latest to have experienced a coup after Guinea, Mali and Burkina Faso. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, called for greater support to tackle the Sahel region's growing insecurity and fight against terrorism and extremism.
Another issue of concern is the threat of terrorism that remains an imminent challenge to Ghana and our neighbors. Recent attacks in the sub-region highlight the determination of the terrorists to expand beyond landlocked Sahelian countries, where the insurgency has devastated thousands of lives and property in the last decade. Chieftaincy conflicts and tribal clashes, among several others, make us susceptible to exploitation by terrorist groups, so we must remain vigilant.
In all, 85 officers graduated from the Ghana Armed Forces Staff College, out of which 25 were drawn from the West African sub-region.
Away from that, to some other subjects this afternoon, and defunct gold dealership Men's Gold has encouraged customers to purchase a 650 CD Men's Gold digital verification access card in order to verify their transactions. A statement signed by Nana Appiah Mensah, also known as M1, said the verification card will give customers who believe they have genuine claims to check their transaction status. Customers who wish to claim their transactions are encouraged to upload original colored soft copies of their transaction supporting documents from 10th August 2023 to 14th September 2023. Now, according to the statement, this has become necessary because over 60% of claims they have received were fraught with unacceptable infractions which invalidate the claims. Now, this, according to the CEO, will enable the company to do due diligence of customers they are indebted to before they make the payments. According to a statement signed by NAM1, this verification card will give customers who believe they have genuine indebted transactions claims. Well, on the back of this, political commentator and private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu says the state's handling of the NAM1 and Men's Gold case has been poor.
Hogwash is absolute nonsense. NAM1 doesn't have that right morally and legally to do what he's doing. He just has to stop it. That would be one too many. It shows it's the height of insensitivity. It's as if he doesn't recognize that people have died. Some are living in so much pain and fear, etc. He's ruined the lives of thousands of citizens. So the last thing we expect is this new gimmick. It's another Ponzi scheme. Listen, paying for verification was never in the contract. One thing is clear, and that is, as a state, including the Attorney General, the state hasn't done well in dealing with this case. That one, very, very true. It's unimpeachable. You can't deny it. We haven't given it the right attention. Because if you look at even the number of adjournments and the flow of information, this is something that should involve a lot of free flow of information from the state to assuage the fears of the customers. Citizens are right in saying that the state hasn't done well. And since it's the Attorney General who is the focal person, yes, naturally the blame will go to him. NAM1, Nana Appiah Mensah, cannot by himself continue to deal with the public. No, he's lost that opportunity.
Let's engage with Fred Forsing, who is spokesperson for the aggrieved customers of defunct gold dealership company Men's Gold. Fred, thank you so much for joining us. Good afternoon to you. This is the latest coming from the CEO of the company, which you are saying that has to pay you some monies. This is a move you're not in support of.
Thank you very much. First of all, I think I agree with the respected counsel Table on the comment he made. Because I quite remember way back in 2019, he and I were on Joy News. That time I issued a statement when he was he was put behind bars, number one. And we sort of mitigated on his bail terms. And the next day, he was free. He was released by the court then. It appears, number one, is abusing all the courtesies that Ghanaians offered him when he came back from Dubai. And I would like to use this major platform to call on all our customers once again to ignore number one. And the public should disabuse their minds from the statement that 60% of the customers are not qualified for payment. It's a figment of his own imagination. And I think I don't know the state of mind he is now. Number one has not done any validation. He hasn't. From our checks, he hasn't done any validation. This latest trick and threat is only aimed at extorting money fraudulently from the already impoverished customers of Men's Good. And he wants to finish us kwata, but this time we have told him he is in the beginning of his end. We have petitioned the Inspector General of Police on the 16th of August last week to reverse the deployment of state security agencies around number one, the first step, and go ahead and arrest him for some of these activities that number one is pursuing in this country. You remember when Men's Good collapsed in 2018, he, through a media interview, asked all customers to pay 5% of their locked up investment to him, to the company, for them to be migrated online. Customers paid those money, nothing happened. Then in 2020, he had another company called Payboy. The very Payboy company he mentioned in the press release yesterday, they also demanded 9% from some customers. That money was also not refunded. And now he's demanded 650 Ghana cedis from customers. Men's Gold is already defunct. And so, like the council said, he cannot engage the customers by himself. After all, and he must know that his company was shut down under the laws of Ghana.
Right.
He cannot operate. He cannot do anything. Whatever he's doing is illegal. And we are expecting the state security agent operators to ensure that this gentleman is apprehended immediately. That is our demand.
Fred, there are also concerns that you have over the state's handling of the case. You mentioned your desire to have the state withdraw all security protocols or protections for NAM1. How about the handling of the case by the Attorney General, considering the distance or the length the case has traveled so far?
It's very abhorrent, just to say the least. In fact, on 26th July, we were in court. Myself and the rest of my members, we were in court. Could you imagine? We know court normally starts at 9 o'clock. It appears they even called the case before 9 a.m. in the morning. And he came with heavy security, protected by the state officials. So for the handling of the case, and last, the 26th July was the 37th time. The 36th time that this case has been adjourned. And we feel that the state is not ready to prosecute NAM1. And we are not surprised because the boss of Yoko told us last year that they do not even see the law that NAM1 has broken, and so they can't, it's even difficult to prosecute him. So what we are saying is that if you think you cannot prosecute him, just allow him to go, because his continuous attendance to court is even a nuisance and it's a head to us. So if you feel you cannot prosecute him, you let him go. So that individually we can sue him and tackle him for our money or whatever. But the rate at which you go to court and in the next 2 minutes the case is adjourned, it's a nuisance to us.
Fred, let me ask you this. So, according to the statement from NAM1, he mentioned that over 60% of the claims were fraught with a lot of irregularities. So, that should say that close to 40% were validated. Do you have some proof of this, that people who attempted to validate how much NAM1 and Men's Gold owes them went through successfully? And shouldn't that motivate the others to also go through the process to get your locked up cash?
Even that is a lie, but if you let's follow its own logic. So you have done a validation, and 60% don't qualify. So you know the 40% who qualify. Why don't you give them an SMS message to come for their money? And you want them to go and buy a validation, and you are selling access cards to the 60 who don't qualify and the 40 who qualify at the same time to buy and check their validation status. That is where the fraud is. We are not a security expert, but I can read the grammar, I can read in between the lines and see that this is pure defrauding and extortion of money from capital. If you believe that you have done validation and 60 don't qualify, so it presupposes that 40% qualify. Why don't you just call them? Because we're in Ghana here, and when the banks were collapsed, the liquidator who was appointed, after they did the validation, they only gave us messages, Women's Bank and other things, to go for our money. Why is he not doing that, and he wants people to go and purchase his so-called fraudulent access cards? So we are watching. Because we copied the Attorney General, we copied the Speaker of Parliament on this arrest, we copied the Interior Minister, and we copied the rest this gentleman. We have a dossier on him of the fraudulent activity that he has done. We are ready to provide everything to them.
Mr. Forsing, thank you so much for speaking with us. Fred Forsing is the spokesperson for the aggrieved customers of Defunct Gold Dealership Company Men's Gold. Now, Defunct Gold Dealership Men's Gold, it has encouraged its customers to purchase by their transactions. A statement signed by Nana Pia Mensah, also known as NAM1, said the verification card will give the customers who believe they have genuine claims to check their transaction status. Customers who wish to claim their transactions are encouraged to upload original colored soft copies of their transactions supporting documents from 10th August to 2023 to 14th September 2023. Now, according to the statement, this has become necessary because over 60% of claims they have received were fraught with unacceptable infractions which invalidate the claims. This, according to the CEO, will enable the company to do due diligence of customers they are indebted to before they make any payments for them. Let's speak with the private legal practitioner Vitus Gbang, also on the back of the happenings concerning Men's Gold and the latest from the CEO of the defunct company, Nana Pia Mensah, urging the customers to purchase a card worth 650 cedis. Mr. Gbang, thank you so much for joining us on the program. First of all, pick your thoughts on the state's handling of this case. NAM1 has previously been charged with over 61 counts.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Craig. Good afternoon to your viewers across Ghana. Well, the thing is that our constitution, the supreme law of Ghana, presumes that a person who is charged for an offense and is being tried is innocent until he or she is proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. So really, it is not enough that the person is being charged for so many offenses or so many counts of offenses. The person must ultimately be determined by a court of competent jurisdiction to be guilty of offense. Having said that, indeed, the Men's Gold is a separate legal entity and is supposed to be distinct from NAM1. So if there is no legal process to wind down or wind up, let's say, the company, to dissolve the company, it looks like Men's Gold, acting through its CEO, NAM1, will continue to have the right to do some of the things that it is doing because it is still a recognized legal entity. Now, I would have expected that maybe a process be started to basically wind up the company, to dissolve the company if the company is found to have committed so many wrongs, if the company is not able to pay its clients as and when it is due. That process would have definitely involved some independent people. So liquidators coming in And these liquidators will now act in the best interest of the people who have put their investments into men's gold. This process would have given some kind of comfort to the many customers of men's gold who would not be thinking that maybe there's another scam, imminent. This process would have allowed the customers to be assured that there's an independent body or independent person who will validate their claims and pay them accordingly. But presently, the company Men's Gold asking people to pay 650 Ghana cedis to be verified.
Right.
People are going to be very much worried and very uncertain about the future, whether it is another, excuse me to say, scam.
Right.
Or not.
Mr. Agban, if you can hold on for me, there's also the demand from the aggrieved customers that the state withdraws its security protection detail or concerning NAM1. What's your stance on this?
Well, I'm not too sure that the aggrieved customers may be totally right if they're asking for his protection to be withdrawn, because we don't know the specific arrangements between NAM1 and the state as far as personal security is concerned.
Right.
So I think that they must be focused on the real issues. If they are making a demand on the company Men's Gold and the Men's Gold is not able to pay, there's a legal process that the customers of Men's Gold can use in getting the company liquidated, wound up. And that process would involve the appointment of, let's say, a liquidator, and the liquidator will have to serve the ultimate best interest of creditors of Men's Gold, in this case, the customers of Men's Gold.
Mr. Agban, thank you so much for joining us. Vitus Bang is a private legal practitioner speaking with us there. To some other subjects this afternoon, the Refuse, Taxi and Tricycle Association, an informal waste collection group, opposes the Greater Accra Regional Minister's restriction on tricycles operation. Now, General Secretary Max Jumbo questions why the Accra Regional Coordinating Council has not upheld planned activities to streamline motorized tricycle operations before announcing the restrictions.
On tricycle movement in 13 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies due to heavy traffic congestion and chaotic scenes in central business districts. This is a scale-up of a previous exercise 2 years ago. The Informal Waste Workers Association is disappointed with the directive, as key proposed interventions to streamline the activities have not been upheld.
The regional minister extended the ban from 1st of November 2021 to February 1st, 2022 to make more room for engagement, 1, education, 2, and sensitization. And as we speak now, we've not seen any engagement from the minister's office, no sensitization, no education. So our question still remains, why the intensification of the ban?
The group says it will not observe the directive until fully engaged.
We are working because we can't stop. That is what we do to feed our people. That is what we do to feed ourselves. And until the authorities come to us or they agree to meet us, we are ready to meet them. And then we discuss the way forward. Until then, we are still working. We are still on the grounds.
Garbage carting tricycles lift about 75% of waste generated in the city.
Now, the CEO of the National Youth Association, Pius Zenam Hajide, has admonished the youth to be the agents of change and use their dynamism to meet the urgency of our planet's needs. He made these remarks at a conference aimed at equipping young minds with green skills to combat climate change and drive environmental sustainability.
The conference aims to empower young individuals to become agents of change, advocating for policy reforms, innovation, and sustainable practices. The conference also discussed solutions for the pressing issue of climate change. The Chief Executive Officer of the National Youth Authority emphasized the role the youth can play in contributing to the United Nations Global Conference for Youth and Climate Change.
We have the potential to contribute to the successes, to the resolution of those challenges. And so the young people who, by the way, will live on earth longer if the laws of nature were to hold, it is in our interest and it is for our own sake that we shall take care of environmental degradation issues.
The Minister for Youth and Sports urged the youth to equip themselves with green skills.
Such an elaborate program gears towards achieving green environment to empower the youth with the requisite skills, knowledge to overcome the unparalleled challenges associated with climate change, which has caused the depletion of our natural resources and also fall upon us as the torchbearers of tomorrow to pave the way for an enduring future.
With their green skills and determination, the youth stand ready to shape a more sustainable and resilient world for generations to come.
I think it's a very great thing, and particularly it's something that is going to help youth that want to get some form of employment but do not have the capital to do that on a larger scale.
The youth in general are doing a whole lot of things. Everyone is trying, pushing, and very ambitious in their efforts to help combat climate change. The only thing is about the polarization of our efforts in doing that. And that's where the NYA is coming in to help us come together.
The theme for the conference was Green Skills for Youth Towards a Sustainable World.
This is Midday Live on TV3. My name is Noble Crosby, and we have more stories for you. But after the break, stay with us, please.
Lotto Ghana Padia and one they were 539 direct, the best lotto game in Ghana. The Uhian say Ubenya with solid magic numbers. A free bako, equasi 39.
Wow! Directory enough winning no each show.
Abran Hedino, what the 2 Ghana cities pay and a 2 you. And to also call *446# across all networks. Ucha direct one. Obedi 20 times Sika Udikayeno. Ucha direct tour. Obedi 40 times Sika Udikayeno. And a direct train so Ebema wedi 400 times.
A fat winning no eat show.
Kwame so enedino.
A fat
winning no eat show. Hey! Direct to na mi kana fama me. Winning no dey choke ampa. They were 539 direct. A fat
winning no eat choke. Eat choke. Eat choke.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Ha! Chesena mi ankasa me period no say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na me point no mo hwe me mogya mu no mo he bibia na so mo meduro me fire no ene ma wo nkura mienu foforo kwa na mkwan mu a eba
and everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko endpoint o mama no nura ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's endpoint for you. Hello. Hey, ohwehwe what chair. Okay. A free bra wo di endpoint wa dance. Me call you no. Me Johnson sema na enkoyie and person my emre nyina na magina sebema na me be fear for there the one dey nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathy Clinic. I'm free.
They came, they saw, and are set to conquer. Ghana's Strongest 2023 is at an end, and 4 men will compete for the title in the grand finale. Who wins this year's Ghana's Strongest? Will it be Godfred Akobila with 7 appearances, Bright Apia, the SWAT man, Takrada's finest, Ebenezer Amos, or the new man, Jeffrey Ekufu? Don't miss this epic finale live on TV3 at the Obra Sports on Sunday, 20th August at 2 p.m. Ghana's Strongest, the power to do.
Catch Ghana's Strongest this Sunday only on TV3. Ghana's Strongest is powered by Gasem, the nation builder. Brought to you by Mixi Choco, Channel Hot,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
Drugnet.
This water pouring on you from the rooftop.
signifies that in this life, rain shall fall on you, but nothing shall happen to you.
It's a week of fashion and glam on Ghana's Most Beautiful. This week, our beautiful contestants will grace the runway, showcasing exquisite outfits crafted by talented designers and featuring the latest collections from GTP. Get ready to be dazzled as they bring elegance, charm, and a touch of Ghanaian culture to the fashion world. It's a night of style, sophistication, and celebration, where fashion meets tradition and a breathtaking display of creativity and beauty. Exclusively on TV3 at 8 p.m. this Sunday. It's an eviction week and not less than 2 contestants will be evicted. To save your contestant from eviction, vote by dialing *713*13# or download the TV3 reality app to vote. GMB 2023, Ghana's beauty, Africa's pride.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Camon 20 Series, AT, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Geisha Moringa and Geisha Black Soup, Key Soap, Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Natural Spices, Vitamilk, Deluxe Acrylic Paint, Nescofa Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Frutelli Calipo, Duffy's Health and Beauty, Obuasi Bitters, Nubuna Womwankasa, Dragnet, Shalatem, Top Choco, Global Wings Travel and Tour.
Makeup was done by House of Tara.
She was just trying to take care of her diet and her health in general from a UK size 22. She started off by eating well, sharing it on social media personally, and then later on it moved on to blow into the biggest restaurant in Ghana right now. You know that restaurant, I'm talking Nyonyo Catering Services.
I told Farouk, I want to own a restaurant, and we all laughed it off. I didn't know that words are powerful. Later on in life, I own a restaurant. For me, my food style or my healthy eating habits is balancing.
Me, if it must be done, it must be done well.
I'm all for balance.
Okay, balance.
All right,
baby, balance,
I cannot
baby.
come and die.
Chichi Yakubu is our guest right here on Today's Woman for this week. Don't forget, it's 3 p.m. on Saturday, right here at TV3 with me, Cookie.
Today's Woman with Cookie T shows Saturdays at 3 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Latex Foam, Vlisco,
Senator Dr. Rasha Kelej, and creator of our Africa TV show.
All Africa will be part of our show.
The CEO of MAC Foundation.
We want to support girls' education. No to infertility stigma, yes to girls' education. We want to stop gender-based violence for stop. Number of child marriage will double by 2050.
Our Africa by MEC Foundation shows Saturdays at 2:30 p.m. and repeats on Mondays at 10:30 a.m. on TV3.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Now, as food inflation continues to push Ghana's inflation, prices of imported rice have more than doubled in the last 2 years. Could local rice be a game changer? Through business, Shadrach Keserifi explores the alternatives available to consumers.
Has surpassed maize and cassava, making it a staple in Ghana. In 2022, rice import was the third highest on Ghana's import list after refined petroleum and cars, costing the country a whopping $552 million. Prices of rice have more than doubled since 2020. With India's decision to cut export of its rice by 40%, there are concerns that consumers may bear the brunt.
India banning exportation of rice. Thailand is also going to follow suit, same as Singapore and Malaysia. And then deliberately, Russia is bombarding the food that has to be exported. What I'm seeing, if we don't take any measure to increase the production locally, we are going to face a lot of food shortages because the imported food will be very expensive and the local ones will not be there. And therefore, those who don't have money could not buy.
Already, local traders are beginning to feel the heat of this development.
Beginning of the year, 50 kg rice, some was like 500 cedis, but now it's 650, some is 700 cedis and plus. 25 kilos too, we had rice that was 210, 250, but now they are all above 300 cedis.
Our sales have reduced drastically because rice is very expensive.
This has become a major concern for many consumers.
Last time I 75 and number was 89.
The rice I bought for 75 cedis the last time is now 89 cedis. I have to add more.
We buy the local.
Increases in prices of imported rice. Could local rice be an alternative with respect to affordability and accessibility?
Cheaper? No, because what makes the rice expensive is still there. For example, last year there was minimum subsidy for fertilizer. And so the farmers had to get the rice themselves, and that pushed the price up. Moreover, we are not getting the yield that we should get from the farm.
While foreign options might offer initial cost savings, choosing local alternative contributes to our community's economic growth and food security. As such, there is a need to strike a balance between affordability and local support. Shadrach Esrefi, 3 Business, Accra.
Now, in its bid to support Ghana in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, interventions on health, education and economic empowerment have been extended to several rural communities by World Vision. After over 20 years of impacting the lives of residents in underserved communities, the organization has handed over the project of 3 district assemblies in the Bono East and Ashanti regions.
Realizing the challenge in accessing essential amenities like clean water, improved sanitation and hygiene, healthcare, and quality education in some rural communities, World Vision stepped in to bridge the gap. In the Atebubu Amantin enclave, families were faced with challenges such as guinea worm and buruli ulcer infestation due to inadequate access to clean, safe drinking water. These waterborne illnesses did not only affect the area's economy, health, and productivity, but also prevented hundreds of children from attending school. In most communities within the Asante Akim North municipality, educational infrastructure was non-existent. Child labor, teenage pregnancies, and child marriages were therefore prevalent in such communities. The Setre East District had a peculiar challenge. Access to healthcare was a luxury for many, hence a surge in maternal and child mortality. But the narrative has changed in the targeted communities with the intervention of World Vision.
When we look at their focus areas, basically on nutrition, health, education, these are core mandates of this assembly. So they have been very instrumental in getting the aspect of our program implemented.
They have done a lot in area of education, water and sanitation, women empowerment. You know, previously there was guinea worm in this municipality, but in the presence of the World Vision, it has been a thing of the past. Water issue, they have done a lot of borehole for us.
The Christian Humanitarian Aid Organization is moving from the beneficial district and municipalities to other areas for similar interventions. Integrated Programs Director for World Vision Ghana, Joshua Beidu, expects the district assemblies to sustain the interventions.
All these, as we have said, are contributing to the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals in the area of education, healthcare, reduction of poverty, and also ensuring that the environment is also protected to ensure sustainability. And it is our hope and belief that as we are living, because of the capacity we have provided, they will continue to ensure the maintenance and sustenance of these facilities.
The organization plans to move to other parts of the country to impact lives and improve the standard of living there.
You're watching Midday Live. We're going for a quick break. We're back with the latest in sports news. Please stay with us.
When it comes to the world of sports, what does complete mean to you?
When my team scores at the end of a 30-plus passing sequence, just like Pep Guardiola style.
When someone beats the buzzer with a shot from the logo, like Steph Curry.
Dominating opponents and punching my waist to a knockout, like Africa's greatest boxer, Azuma Nelson.
Running so fast that I can afford to celebrate midway through a 100-meter race and smash the world record like Usain Bolt.
Hold up, what makes all of these sports complete is the screen. This is where you get access to all the extensive highlights, analysis, and insights.
So do join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. live on 3FM 92.7 as we serve you the best sports buffet and most satisfying in the sports world. The 3 Sports team will come together to review, preview, and analyze the latest in the sports world here on Sports Ultras.
This confessor came in with quite an attitude. He says he is angry. I mean, Papa Deniso.
A few months ago, I was ill. So my wife went to see the pastor for prayers. We have this joint account. It's for the family and it's an investment account.
Okay.
My wife went back behind me to withdraw an amount of 50,000 Ghana without my consent.
As a caring wife, she was concerned about your health more than the money.
Is it that he's not happy he's alive?
I love that.
And I believe that we should be able to teach people as men of God why people should give in the first place and what they should expect. Yeah. You don't pay for a miracle.
So you go and hide behind God, so I cannot take it back. Because I didn't see God when I was giving the money.
But you believe in God.
I do.
Good. And you know that God has a servant.
Yes.
And you give to his servant.
Yeah, and I know that God never came down there
so
to take the money from his servant.
Confessions shows on Saturdays at 9:30 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by
MTN.
They came, they saw, and are set to conquer. Ghana's Strongest 2023 is at an end, and 4 men will compete for the title in the grand finale. Who wins this year's Ghana's Strongest? Will it be Godfred Akobila with 7 appearances, Bright Appiah, the Swatman, Takrada's finest, Ebenezer Amos, or the new man, Jeffrey Ekufu? Don't miss this epic finale live on TV3 at the Obra Sports on Sunday, 20th August at 2 p.m. Ghana's Strongest, the power to do.
Catch Ghana's Strongest this Sunday only on TV3. Ghana's Strongest is powered by Gasem, the nation builder. Brought to you by Mixi Choco, Channel Hot,
Deluxy Acrylic Paint,
Drugnet.
Get to win!
What type of music did Louis Armstrong play?
Country music.
Which country? Which of these animals would Lali or Eko prefer for a pet? A parrot, a cat, or a bear? Please, animal.
I knew you were going to say what
Here to Win shows Saturdays at 8 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by Kill It Insecticide Spray.
Let's go Yao Fusulabi for some sports news. Over to you, Yao.
Well, thank you so much to Crosby, and to our first story this afternoon here on Midday Live on TV3. And an African swimming championship has begun in Accra at the Legon Pool, and Ghana's Zaria Forson has laid down the marker after recording some fantastic times in the competition. 3 Sports' Frank Champong was there and filed this report.
The 3rd edition of the African Aquatic Zone B Junior Swimming Championships commenced on Friday, August 18 at the Legon Swimming Pool, with athletes from 22 countries in Western and Central Africa participating for medals as Ghana prepares to host the 2023 African Games. President of the Ghana...
More coming, and it just is another bit of inspiration, another step to bigger competitions, I guess.
Representing the Ministry for Youth and Sport was the head of tech for Ghana's Sports Authority, Vincent Ampofo Jr., who encouraged members of the media and citizens to engage in swimming in order to improve the awareness and involvement amongst the youth in the Ghanaian society.
Competing or doing sports through academics, when your physical energy is depleted, then you can use your mental energy. But when you combine the two, the physical and mental energies, you are always able to reap the dividends of all. So it's important. The Sports Ministry and the Sports Authority places much premium on the combination of the two. I mean, sports through education. And so with the media, when the media helps out, like the Media General is helping us today, to throw out there the pictures, to stimulate the youth to also want to take interest in these disciplines.
The competition will come to an end on Sunday with more medals up for grabs.
That was my colleague Frank Champon there with that report. So the competition continues today and then ends tomorrow at the Legon Pool. So you might want to make your way there and enjoy some swimming competition. Now, some more stories, and 4 contestants remaining, only 1 winner. And this season, that's season 12 of Ghana's Strongest, will come to an end this Sunday as 4 athletes battle for the bragging rights. Now, there's more in this report.
Season 12 of TV3's only sports reality show climaxes this weekend, with the finals set to take place. 4 strong athletes will go head-to-head at the Obra Sports Circle on August 20 for the much-coveted title of being called Ghana's Strongest. 7-time finalist Godfred Akolbila, who's yet to win the crown, believes this will be his year.
They know what I'll be doing on Sunday, so I'm their biggest nightmare. They do not sleep because of me.
Yeah.
They go to bed with me in their head, they wake up with me in their head. Yes, I am so prepared. So,
first runner-up from last season, Bright Apia, popularly known as SWAT, has promised the rest of the security service he will make them proud.
Last year, as you can see, I was second, and I don't want to go back. Fans and to the police service, to the military, the migrations, and the prisons. This is your man. This is my year. This year is my final year, and I'm coming all out. As you can see, it's just only 1 shot will kill the 3 of them.
Also referred to as chilling, isn't even entertaining the idea of giving the other 3 a chance.
they should expect nothing but the best from me, because this coming Sunday I'm gonna do much better than ever. Yeah, so they should expect the best from me.
Debutant Jeffrey Ekufu admits he may not be as experienced as the other finalists, but is adamant he stands an outside chance of winning the ultimate.
Face your fears and discipline, courage, anything that you do, you got to put in your all. Yes, so I have really dedicated my time, my all into this game, because I want anybody supporting me should, expect the best.
So this season's Ghana's Strongest promises to be exciting. It's the finale this Sunday at the Obra Sports in Circle. You might want to join them and enjoy some action there from Ghana's Strongest. Ghana's Strongest is certainly the power to do. That ends the sports news this afternoon here on Midday Live on TV3. My name is Yavo Sulabi. Entertainment news is after this.
Well, all is set for the 2023 edition of VGMA Male Vocalist of the Year. Perez Music's annual gospel concert dubbed Glorified. The much-anticipated concert, expected to headline renowned gospel ministers like C.D. Thompson and Pastor Joe Beecham, will take place at the Victory Bible Church at Awoshi in Accra on Sunday. Perez Music has been opening up about the concert.
The next Sunday, Sunday, 27th of August, at the Victory Bible Church, Awoshi, we have Cindy Thompson and we have Pastor Joe Beecham. It's absolutely free, so come with your family and be blessed. And this year we are expecting to have a marvelous move of the Holy Spirit. We want to host the Holy Spirit in the, in the auditorium.
So that's glorified.
Glorified. This year's edition is Grace and Mercy.
Brother,
and one of the things we're trying to do is we're trying to, like from last year, what we're trying to do, we're trying to help young boys on the street. It hasn't been an easy endeavor, but we are doing it small. So even if you can,
even though it's a free show, you are still offering.
We're going to find a way. When you come, open your heart up, because we are trying to build, and get partners. Not just about raising people who are ready to partner with us in the long term, not just in the short term.
In other news, Ghanaian filmmaker Samuel White has launched the Samuel White Foundation as an advocacy mouthpiece to champion the importance of road safety in Ghana.
You could be the breadwinner. A lot of lives might be depending on you. So please, being it pedestrian, being it driver, please, let's always ensure safety on our roads. Major cause of accident right now is phone. We are always on our phones. So please, I entreat everybody. When you're crossing the road, no phones. When you're driving, no phones.
To the young filmmaker and passionate road safety advocate, Samuel White, it was progress made in getting his message to the larger community of stakeholders and major players in the transport industry. Speaking at the event, the second in command of the Central Motor Traffic and Transport Department (MTTD) for the Greater Accra region, Superintendent Joseph Appiah, stated that road accidents in Ghana has decreased as compared to the previous year due to increased knowledge and education about accident prevention. He lauded Samuel White for embarking on such an initiative and encouraged road users to adhere to proper road regulations in order to stay alive. Stakeholders at the launch admonished road users to continue practicing good road user regulations, as that was the only way to keep reducing road accidents in Ghana.
I've been a witness to a very tragic accident where I rushed the person to the hospital, but she lost her life. And personally, I've equally been involved in a very tragic accident. What is really causing it? What are the problems? That is where the drive came from. And then let me just say this quickly. This is what I usually do. When I'm driving, I have vehicle triangles in the rear of my car. When if I see any car positioned wrongly on the road, I take one, I go and put it behind it, just to make sure another car doesn't come to crash in. I'm doing it for the love, because I'm happy when I avoid accidents, and accidents are not happy. This is why I formed the Samuel White Foundation.
Let's bring you some international news now. In international news, Chinese President Xi Jinping will be in South Africa next week for a major summit as well as an official state visit at a time of increasing South African concern about President and persistent trade imbalances in the country's relationship, as well as worries about China's domestic economy. Now, South African Minister for International Relations and Cooperation said last week that in 2022, trade with fellow BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, accounted for 21% of South Africa's global trade, or $43 billion, and that is also equal to 830 billion rand. That's it for the midday bulletin here on TV3. We're also live on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana Plus on DSTV channel 279. My name is Noble Crosby, and thank you so much for watching the bulletin. We see you again some other time. Bye-bye.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity, mild violence, and strong language. Parental guidance is advised.